We are at a critical inflection point where advancements in AI are rapidly redrawing the lines of service industries. And the latest move by Starbucks, the deployment of an AI barista, offering a glimpse into how this technology could transform our everyday coffee runs. Yes, that's right. AI seemingly coming for everything. Nick Lichtenberg joins us now. He is a business editor at Fortune. He has written all about this. Nick, welcome. It's great to have you here. So let me first ask by what Starbucks is calling its Green Dot AI assistant. What is it? And I suppose more directly, why does Starbucks need it?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So, CEO Brian Niccol was at Dreamforce recently, and he talked about this green dot, which was piloted in June and then rolled out to more and more Starbucks across the country. And he described it as a kind of barista assistant, is what his words were. I think he's really trying to bring back that old third place feeling to Starbucks and trying to cut down on the order time. Like we've all been in a Starbucks and waited just a little too long in recent years, is the feeling. And so, if there's a green dot that uses AI behind the scenes to help the baristas make the orders more quickly and efficiently, that's what this is geared toward.
So what does this look like in terms of what you've been able to figure out with your reporting for the baristas themselves? And how big of a shift is there an on the job sort of retraining that has to go on to be able to leverage the technology to ensure the orders come out a bit more smoothly?
Yeah, I mean, Brian talked about this too at the conference where he said he came to Starbucks from a Chipotle where he did a great job. He was a superstar CEO there, and he said he came in and he said there was no real rhyme or reason to how orders would get organized, and so maybe like a really complex drink would be first in, first out, and the quicker drinks wouldn't be in the queue prioritized. And so I think it's really, they call it a smart queue, about their behind the scenes technology. It's all about sort of getting the quick orders done quicker, and then the long orders the right place. So I think it's all about the queue behind the scenes. They're trying to get the a production line with more sense to it. It's basically like a data problem, it sounds like.
Yeah, when did Starbucks start piloting this system? Do we know? Was it I
Yeah.
assume this summer, more or
Yeah, it
less?
was during the summer. Yeah, it was back in June. It was, and around the same time, Starbucks closed down lots of its. Yeah, this was in July. They closed down their pickup only stores. Like I think some of us in big cities have been to these stores where it's kind of just a counter and it's a mobile only store, and it feels more robotic. He was saying he doesn't want a robotic feeling. He says he wants to make Starbucks the world's best customer service organization again.
Based on your reporting, how are employees at Starbucks reacting to the idea of a so-called AI barista or additional tech that can maybe help them with their job if that's how they view it?
You know, I wouldn't say that I could speculate too much on how baristas are responding to this, but there's been a lot of labor strife in recent years between Starbucks and its union movement, and I think I think that the two sides are looking at the issue similarly from the opposite perspective, where everyone seems frustrated with how long it can take to make a certain order, and especially some of these Starbucks fads on TikTok. Like there's like a unicorn drink a few years ago that was super popular, and everyone wants like their favorite particular latte made exactly the right way. And it's a stress for the C-suite, it's a stress for the frontline workers. And um I think everyone wants the solution, but I'm not sure um if this is exactly the answer to that. I mean, Brian did talk also about someday in the future, like his pipe dream for how this AI ordering will work out is if you could talk into your phone or your device. Maybe it's like this mysterious open AI device that Sam Altman is working on with Johnny Ive from Apple. Maybe you talk into your hand and say, I want my usual Starbucks order, and then it's waiting for you by the time you get to the store. But behind the scenes, the company told me that's some way off. But that is like the dream goal that they're working towards.
Nick, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Nickel also said something along the lines of this type of tech knowing the drink order you want before you do. How would that? I don't even know what I want before I know that I want it. So, any sense? I can't imagine those like fireside chats for those events. He gets too into the weeds, but what does that look like?
I think
It sounds terrifying. I gotta be
that's
honest.
also speculative at this point. I think it's
Yeah.
a little like, I don't know how much you play with AI tools in your spare time or even on the job, but the connections they make, maybe they're hallucinations at times, but they take these leaps, these LLMs and generative AI tools, they take leaps that you didn't see yourself. And so um, I think it's something to do with that. I mean, I know what my regular Starbucks order is, and I think that an AI tool that got to know me really well with all my behaviors would suggest that most days.
Brian Nichols been CEO, came over from Chipotle. Was it September of last year? So it's been just over a year, if I'm not mistaken. And not that I shop at a Starbucks, I go into a Starbucks a whole lot, but I know, for instance, the protein foam. That's a new thing they're putting on the menu. It's kind of goes hand in hand with a general push again towards, and you see it in food services, right? There was like a big push into fiber. There's a big push into low this, high that. We're kind of in this protein era right now. How does this kind of square with the general bigger changes you've seen Brian Nickel try and institute across the company the last 13 months or so?
I think that's a great point. The Starbucks people have told me that the protein addition to the menu has been a big hit for them. They've seen real positive momentum from that in consumer behavior. But then I think the problem Starbucks is trying to square is how to simplify their menu so that they can get your coffee order ready quicker, but also to keep introducing the right new items. So they actually told me that they've got um, a starting five program that they also launched in July. They test these innovations around five coffee houses around the country, and they make sure that it's working in those five places and that it's meeting their standards for being sustainable, being high quality, and then being quick to make. And then they roll that out nationally. And so that's a new thing that Brian has introduced.
What did Brian Nichol have to say with regards to overall workforce displacements, right? I mean, you take the one step to say, all right, we have AI agents assisting with this part of the order. What's to say there's not a fully automated future where there are no human beings? I know that sounds dramatic, but I also
Yeah.
don't think it is. And top of this conversation on a weakening labor market, which is happening at the same time as this incredible AI data center spend. I mean, the future is here, Nick.
He said, "We're not near that right now in terms of robots making your coffee." And he made efforts to say that we want to give people a great, not robotic experience. Um, but saying we're not near something right now doesn't mean that it'll never happen. But I interpreted his comments to be that there's no chance of any time soon of a robot making your coffee. And then they closed down these mobile only stores, and so that was more of a robotic experience. So I think Starbucks wants an assembly line behind the counter, but they want real humans to be driving a real good experience where you should be enjoying going to your Starbucks again.
Yeah, Nick, before I let you go, Starbucks stock is down about 6% or so from the start of the year. It's obviously pretty significantly uh, underperforming relative to the broader market. What do you see as being the biggest challenges Starbucks has right now in terms of increased competition and its position in its lane?
Yeah, I think overexpansion a long time ago, not like recently. I think that I've been in New York about 20 years, and I remember when there was on Astor Place two Starbucks facing each other across the same intersection, and that was sort of a symbol of, man, there's a Starbucks everywhere. I also grew up in Massachusetts, and there was a Dunkin' Donuts like every 5 minutes as you were driving in your car. So I think Starbucks is a victim of its own huge success in some ways. I think that Starbucks became the poster child for the early 2000s. It was everyone's favorite thing and too much of a good thing. And so I think Brian is trying to make that sustainable, keep the standards high. I think he's trying to help these baristas make all these complicated coffee orders because Starbucks grew into this thing that everyone had a particular attachment to.
Yeah, and that's a well taken note about Starbucks, that era where there was a Starbucks and a Dwayne Reed on every corner throughout New York City. Nick Lichtenberg, business editor at Fortune. It's a really fascinating development for a really important company. I hope you'll come back soon. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great to be here.